Thank you very much for the opportunity. I was told that I'm speaking Hebrew, and I take the opportunity. But I can hear, if you want to ask questions in English or whatever, it's okay. I can speak both languages. Not. I'll begin with English because I want, first of all, to thank Mr. Maldanov is here, and the Prime Minister is speaking afterwards about the Bulgarian authorities for the cooperation after the terror event in Burgos, which was done by Hezbollah. And the government of Bulgaria didn't hesitate. They make all the investigations, and they found the terrorist. They took care very impressively to the Israelis who were there, to the families of those who had been killed or injured. I saw the pressure that they have to face and how successfully they succeeded to manage between all these forces at the end of the day to bring the killers into court. I don't know why, I'm not familiar with the today details, but I heard that Hezbollah is not mentioned at all in the court. The prosecutor decided that, I don't know, it's a group of scout members who met some Jews in Burgos in an accident. Hezbollah doesn't exist. And in a way, this is the problem with Europe. When we asked the Europeans to designate Hezbollah as a terror organization, it took us time. And at the end of the day, the Europeans decided, yes, we will do it, with a lot of help from the information that we got from Bulgaria after the operation. And we found at the end that what was designated as terror organization is the military branch of Hezbollah, which, with all due respect, does not exist. There is no military branch in Hezbollah. Nasrallah is in the operational level, in the strategic level, in the political level. There is no any differentiation between political and military. Not at the end of the day and not at the beginning of the day. And we ask our friends in Europe what happened. Why did they innovate something which does not exist to be designated as terror organization? And the answer was very interesting. They told us that if they designate Hezbollah as a terror organization, they cannot work with the government of Lebanon, because Hezbollah is part of the government. According to the European rules, they cannot work with any body in which there is a terror organization as a member. So if they designate Hezbollah as a terror organization, they cannot work with the Lebanese government. This is why they have to innovate something which does not exist and to designate it so they can continue to work with the Lebanese government. And who is member of the military wing of Hezbollah? The answer is no one, because there is no military wing of Hezbollah. So they did all the work. Hezbollah military wing was designated as a terror organization. But who is there? None. If you want to understand our problem fighting terrorism and cooperating with Europeans and others relating to terror, war against terror, this is a very good example of how they try to go doing something and at the same time doing nothing. Of course, when it is coming to terrorists inside Europe, they are more active, but when it is Hezbollah, which is active only against Jews, not only Israelis. Remember, they blow the building of the Jewish community in Buenos Aires. It's not Israelis. It's pure Argentinians citizens. So if you look at our cooperation, we have to understand that there are some issues in which we cannot cooperate because the other side, mainly the Europeans, are not ready to face the reality, to call the reality, and to work based on the real reality. And this is one example. What is the uniqueness of the terror threat that we are facing here in Israel? First, unlike many terror organizations or operations in some cases, including Al-Qaeda in Brussels or France, we are facing terror organizations which have in mind the destruction and the elimination of the state of Israel, which with all due respect, these cells of Al-Qaeda or ISIS do not have when they act in Europe or America or wherever. We are facing different kind of terror which has in mind and prepare itself and doing everything which is needed to destroy Israel, to eliminate the Jewish state in the Middle East. It's a huge difference. Wider aims for the terror that we are facing. Second, it's done by organizations which are becoming more and more like military systems. It's very true about Hezbollah. You know, with 120,000 rockets and missiles. Do you know about other terror organization who has such a number of weapon systems? Anti-air missiles, anti-ship missiles, drones, and so on and so forth. Yes, they don't have aeroplanes yet, or helicopters. But they are becoming more and more like military organization. It's true about Hamas, with less degree. They don't have what Hezbollah has, but slowly they are building it. Will they succeed to reach the level of Hezbollah? I have many doubts. If Egypt will continue to do the job to isolate the strip from one side, and we will continue to do it from the other side, and we will not be backed, and we will not be pressed by the world to let free entrance into the Gaza Strip, they will not reach the level of Hezbollah, but slowly they are gaining more and more capabilities. And if we have to attack Hamas inside the Strip, they are more organized than many other military systems in the Middle East today. And the number of kilometers of tunnels that they have under Gaza, it's huge. And with all due respect, it's not a terror organization, it's more military, sub-military organization, which is different from what the Europeans are facing relating to Al-Qaeda and ISIS and so on and so forth. ISIS never reached the level of militarization and capabilities that Hezbollah has today in Lebanon. And this is because these organizations are supported by countries. It's not just a terror organization. Hezbollah is an extension of Iran. The Iranians support Hezbollah as part of their own capabilities. The weapon systems which had been moved by the Syrians to the hand of Hezbollah are the most sophisticated weapon systems that had been produced by the Syrians in Syria also, or had been supplied by the Russians to the Syrians. When you are facing an organization which behind it there are countries, states with all their capabilities, and they are ready to support the organization with all the newest and most sophisticated weapon system, it's a different situation. And this is the situation of Hezbollah today. And if Iran will not be contained tomorrow, and this is why what we are facing is not the classical terror organization. Yes, when they act in Burgos, it's a classical terror organization. But you have to remember this is only one part and not the strongest one of Hezbollah. The third issue, which is very unique, those organizations, although they are not states, they are acting like states. In Lebanon, they took the sovereignty of Lebanon under their own control. You heard they brought a weapon system through civil flights into the Lebanese airport. In South Lebanon, there is no any chance that no one will do anything, even move something without permission of Hezbollah. The Lebanese, you know, someone said that Lebanon is not a state, it's a constitution. And within this constitution of today, no one will act in Lebanon without getting permission from the Hezbollah. And you know, the Americans and the French are saying we will encourage the Lebanese army, we will support the Lebanese army with new weapon systems so it will be stronger than it. You understand? It's not connected to reality. At the end of the day, the Lebanese army is one arm of Hezbollah and will cooperate with Hezbollah in any operation against Israel. Formally, Hezbollah is built, part of its capabilities, on the capabilities of the Lebanese army. So all those who are speaking about encouraging the Lebanese army and promoting its capabilities, at the end of the day it means stronger Hezbollah. So it's, you know, it's a situation in which totally different from in the past, because those organizations, even if they are not the state, like in Gaza, in which Hamas is the state, they are hosted by a state which had been taken by the organization and this organization is making all the decisions for the government. So then it is a very strange situation in which a member of the United Nations called Lebanon is hosting an organization which was designated by the European Union and by the United States of America and other countries as a terror organization, and at the end of the day, everyone understands that those who are making the decisions in Lebanon are not the Lebanese government officials, but the Hezbollah members. How you deal with it? And this is one of the uniqueness of the terror that we are facing. And at the end of the day, we should not forget Hezbollah is a terror organization. And last but not least, these are organizations with a lot of support from the outside. Qatar is giving a lot of money to Hamas. Turkey is supporting Hamas. Iran is supporting Islamic Jihad and Hezbollah. Mr. Corbyn in London is speaking very favorably about his friends in Hamas and his brothers in Hezbollah. And this is London. It's part of the West. Yeah, I'm not speaking about not mentioning, of course, Iran, Qatar, and so on and so forth. So it's a situation in which leaders and countries encouraging organizations which are practically terror organizations and encourage them to continue in their way. And we have to face these organizations to see how can we fight with them. What is the meaning of all that? What are the lessons for us? First, and most important than anything else, we came to the stage in which we have to prevent these organizations, mainly Hamas, to be stronger, to stop the support of Iran and Syria to Hezbollah. And if will be a need to go to a big war to eliminate the military capabilities of Hezbollah and to prevent continuation of this support of Iran to Hezbollah. This is what we are doing now in Syria, and slowly it will go also about Lebanon. Because the amount of capabilities they are buying and they are getting from Iran in Syria is in a level in which it is in danger our ability to stop it in the future. And we should not let it go without making whatever is needed to stop it. And when I say whenever is needed, that Israel should be ready to go to a big war to stop this building of capabilities of Hezbollah in Lebanon and what the Iranians are doing in Syria. This is the most critical decision that Israel should take. I believe that we should take it and take the risk of going to a big war, including against the 120,000 rockets and missiles of Hezbollah. And it should be done. Otherwise, if we not stop the building of these capabilities in both Syria and Lebanon, Israel might find itself in a situation in which we don't have solution to the threat which was emerged very close to Israel. Remember, we don't have a border with Iran. Tehran, the Iranian border from Israel is 1,200 kilometers. But the Iranians have a border with Israel. Iranian forces, an Iranian extension organization called Hezbollah is 100 kilometers from the center of Israel. So the Iranians have the capabilities to launch attack on Israel 150 kilometers from the center of Israel, and Israel is 1,500 kilometers from Tehran. And the meaning of it, that at the end of the day, we should be in a position and with the determination that if that will be used against Israel, we should not make the mistake that the Saudis did. What happened in Yemen? The Iranians are launching rockets and missiles, long-range missiles, by the Houthis into Riyadh. What is the reaction of the Saudis? They continue to in a war in Saudi Arabia. What happened to the Iranians? Nothing. Israel will have to make the decision, which is very complicated one, that if long-range missiles will be used by proxies of Iran to be launched against Israel, at the end of the day, Israel will have to react in Tehran. Otherwise, it will not be stopped. The Iranians are ready to sacrifice all the Lebanese and the Syrians in the war against Israel. I'm not sure that they are ready to get our retaliation in Tehran. And we should not make the mistake that the Saudis are doing. And it's well understood, everyone understands that the rockets which had been launched from Yemen are not the product of the Houthis industry. With all due respect to the Houthis, I mean. And we should not make the same mistake. I want to say something about this potential war. This potential war will be very devastating for us. Many missiles will launch into Israel. We build anti-missile systems which cost Israel at the end of the project will be somewhere between 10 to 15 billion dollars only to protect the homeland of Israel, the home front of Israel. But the war will have a very strong element of neutralizing the ability of Hezbollah and the Iranian to launch rockets and missiles into Israel. What does it mean? More than half of the 120,000 missiles and rockets deployed by the Iranians and Hezbollah within populated areas, in urban, very crowded areas. In some cases, the neighbors do not know about the missiles in the building nearby. The average heavy missile is between 200 to 600 kilograms of TNT. Add to that the fuel of the rocket, and think about the situation in which we have the information and we succeeded. We are, superpower cyber state, so we decided to bring 100 grams of TNT into this missile. But this 100 grams of TNT will explode the 600 kilograms of TNT, and all the fuel and everything will be in a crowded area in a building which is surrounded by many other buildings with innocent Lebanese people. What will happen in the surrounding area? What will be the collateral damage? Not from our bomb. Our bomb will be only 100 grams of TNT. From the explosion of the missile with all the hundreds kilograms of TNT and the fuel. And think about 50,000 rockets and missiles like that spread all over urban populated areas in Lebanon. Thousands of Lebanese will be killed, many of them innocent. They don't know about the storage of these missiles and rockets in their surroundings. When I was in the National Security Council, I brought 2 people to my office and I briefed them about this issue and I showed them pictures of missiles and rockets in private houses. One was the Secretary General of the United Nations, and the other one was one of the highest officials of the Red Cross. And I said to both of them, gentlemen, this is the situation. I give you the most secret intelligence that we have. This missile supposed to launch into Haifa, this is to Jerusalem, this is to Tel Aviv. What we as Israelis supposed to do? And I told them the collateral damage will be devastating. I don't know to give numbers, I don't know how many Lebanese will be around these missiles when we launch our attack on them. Both didn't have an answer. And everyone here who is connected to the international community should be very loud about it. We are warning the world. We will not have any choice but to neutralize this capability of Hezbollah. The cost is very clear. Thousands of Lebanese will be killed. Whom to blame? Iran and the United Nations, who is doing nothing to stop this violence of the 1701 decision of the Security Council. None. UNIFIL does not exist practically. They didn't give even one report about one missile of Hezbollah since 2006. Not even one report, one rocket. If you read the reports, you might come to the conclusion that Hezbollah is a sport organization who is playing football in the world, and nothing more than that. And this is the reality. This is the war that we are facing. It will be a devastating one. And what the world is doing to prevent it? Practically nothing. And at the end of the day, it will be in our shoulder, and this is why we have to build all the defensive systems which are needed to defend our home front, and at the same time to be prepared to all the screaming around the world while we are killing so many Lebanese, because so many of them will be killed. It doesn't matter how much effort the IDF will be to prevent collateral damage. It's not Gaza. We don't have the phone numbers of all these buildings in which there are missiles and rockets that we can call them and say, leave the house, what we can do in Gaza. We cannot do it all over Lebanon. We don't have the numbers. To sum it up, the world is fighting terrorism, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and so on and so forth. We are fighting terror organizations which in many ways are military organizations or sub-countries. It's different situation. It is true about Lebanon. It is very true about Lebanon. It is true about Gaza, and it might be true if the Iranians will not be contained in Syria. It will be true about Syria, and we, as Israel, should have to take the risk to contain Iran in Syria. If the Iranians will have an independent war machine in Syria on top of the one that they have in Lebanon, it will be devastating for us. We cannot allow it to happen. Thank you very much.